Okay, so let's start the lesson on converting decimals to percents and percents to decimals. So the first thing we need to talk about is that when you are going from a decimal to a percent, what we'll do is we'll write some notes here. So we'll say if we're going from a decimal to a percent, the way we would do that is we take the decimal and we would multiply by 100 to make a percent. And remember, a percent would have a percent sign. And another way to look at this is when you multiply it by 100, you could move the decimal 2 to the right. And that would be the same as you multiplying by 100. Now, if we're moving from a percent to a decimal, we do the exact opposite. We take the percent and we would divide by 100, and that would give us our decimal. And remember, it starts with a percent, and then it would end without a percent. This would be the same as moving your decimal 2 to the left. So for the purposes of this lesson today, I will be using multiply by 100 and divide by 100 when I convert. So let's take a look at these four problems. So we're starting with a decimal, and we want to convert it to a percent. So in order to do that, I'm going to multiply by 100. I'm going to take 0.57 and I'm going to multiply by 100. And that's going to give me 57%. For the next problem, I have 0.01, and I'm going to convert that to a percent. So I'm going to multiply by 100, and 0.01 times 100 would be 1%. And that's the symbol required for the problem. You make sure you put the percent sign. Taking a look at the next problem, we have 0.4 to a percent. I'm going to multiply that by 100. 0.4 times 100 would be 40%. 0.45 multiplied by 100 to make it a percent. That's going to be 45%. Okay, now we're going to convert a percent to a decimal. So we're going to reverse the process. We're going to divide by 100, and 7 divided by 100 will be 0.07, and we lose the percent sign. So the next problem we have is 34% converting to a decimal. So same idea, I'm going to divide by 100. 34 divided by 100 would be 0.34 as a decimal. Let's go to the next problem here. 216% divided by 100 would be 2.16 as a decimal. And then 70% divided by 100 would end up being you could say 0.7, or you technically could put 0.70. You don't necessarily need the 0 at the end of that. Now the last part of this lesson is using number lines, number grids, and number blocks to take a look at the difference between a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. So for the first grid, there's 100 blocks, and each column is 10. So here I have 10 shaded blocks out of a total of 100. If I reduce that fraction by dividing by 10, that would be 1/10. So 1/10 would be my fraction. Okay. Doing 1 divided by 10 would give me 0.1 as the equivalent decimal that goes with 1/10. So we have the fraction, we have the decimal, and if we multiply that by 100, we would get 10%. All three of those are the same. Now you just have to answer the right question. They said, what decimal does the shaded part represent? Well, that would be 0.1 would be the answer for this. The number line, we're looking at 60%. And we know that 60%, if you divide by 100, would give you 0.6 as a decimal. So that would be Z. Now we're looking at a number line that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total spaces in between 0 and 1, with only 2 shaded. 2 divided by 5 would be 0.4. And if you multiply that by 100, you would get 40%. So you have a fraction, you have the decimal, and you have the percent. Pay attention to what question they're actually asking. They want to know what percent does the shaded region represent, and that would be 40%.